Have you ever found yourself suddenly awake in the dead of night, maybe 2:47 a.m., or 3:12, and wondered, why now? It's dark, quiet, and your mind starts wandering. Is this just part of getting older? Is something wrong with me? If this sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. In fact, waking up around 3 a.m. is one of the most common sleep concerns for older adults, and while it may seem like an annoying quirk or the result of poor sleep habits, there's actually much more going on beneath the surface. In this video from the Silver Library, we're diving into 5 powerful reasons why you may be waking up around 3 a.m., and what those early wake-up calls could be trying to tell you. Some of these may surprise you, others may validate what you've quietly suspected for years. But together, they paint a bigger picture, one rooted in science, personal wellness, and the deep changes that come with aging. Stay with us until the end, because once you understand the why, you can begin to transform your nights and your days. Let's begin. Reason number 1, the aging brain and shallow sleep patterns. As we grow older, one of the most profound changes that happens in the body is in the brain's regulation of sleep. We don't just sleep less, we sleep differently. You may have heard of the sleep cycle, the rhythm of moving between light sleep, deep sleep, and REM. In younger years, the body moves through these stages smoothly and deeply, allowing you to stay asleep for long stretches. But as the brain ages, it spends less time in deep sleep, and more in the lighter stages. That means your sleep becomes more fragile, you're more likely to wake up due to a passing sound, a shift in body position, or even subtle changes in brain chemistry around 3 a.m., a time when sleep is naturally lighter in many people. So if you find yourself waking up in the early morning hours, it doesn't mean your brain is malfunctioning. It actually means your brain is doing exactly what aging brains tends to do, sleeping lightly, checking in with the environment, and preparing for the final part of the night. This light sleep is not necessarily a problem, but it does require a new kind of relationship with rest, a gentler one, a more flexible one. You're not broken, you're simply built differently now. And that's okay. Reason number 2, emotional processing in the quiet hours. Here's something most people never consider. The middle of the night is when your emotions come out to breathe. During the day, your attention is pulled in 100 different directions. Phone calls, errands, family, headlines, even the weather. But at 3 a.m., all of that fades away. What's left? You. And for many older adults, those quiet hours awaken something deeper: memories, unresolved feelings, questions about purpose, or grief that hasn't fully healed. These emotions aren't weaknesses, they're evidence that you've lived, loved, lost, endured, and grown. But when they rise up at 3 a.m., it can feel overwhelming. The brain may not fully wake you, but it nudges you. You become restless, uncomfortable, alert. This is the brain's way of processing emotional content in a low-stimulus environment, and it's more common in older adults because we've had more time to accumulate emotional layers. People like Helen, 74, have found peace by keeping a notebook by the bed. When she wakes up anxious or pensive, she simply writes down a thought or two. It helps her mind release, and she often falls back asleep with more clarity than before. Your emotional life deserves respect, even at 3 a.m. Reason number 3, hormonal shifts in the cortisol curve. One of the body's most powerful natural rhythms is the cortisol cycle, your internal get-up-and-go hormone. In a healthy rhythm, cortisol rises slowly in the early morning hours to help you wake up feeling refreshed. But in many older adults, this cortisol rise starts too early, often around, you guessed it, 3 a.m. Why? Because as we age, the body's hormonal regulation becomes more sensitive to stress, irregular schedules, blood sugar imbalances, and even inflammation. If your cortisol starts climbing too soon, it can pull you out of sleep before your body's ready. This kind of early wake-up often comes with a feeling of alertness, maybe even restlessness. You might feel like you could get up and start the day, but also know you shouldn't. If that sounds familiar, consider gently adjusting your evening routine. Avoid caffeine and sugar after dinner. Dim the lights an hour before bed. Try a warm herbal tea or guided breathing session. These small actions help regulate your cortisol and promote a smoother morning transition. Remember, your body isn't betraying you, it's just trying to wake you up a little early, and now, you can teach it to wait. Reason number 4, environmental sensitivity increases with age. Something interesting happens as we get older. We become more sensitive to our surroundings, especially at night. That ticking clock, the hum of the fridge, the slight draft from the window, you might have slept through all of that in your 30s, but now, these subtle cues can wake you right out of sleep, especially during the lightest sleep phase, which often occurs around 3 a.m. Add to that changes in hearing, body temperature, or even the need to shift position due to joint stiffness, and you've got a perfect recipe for a midnight awakening. But here is the good news, a few simple changes can make a big difference. Things like blackout curtains, white noise machines, layered bedding, or even a slightly warmer pair of socks can reduce those subtle disruptions. Take David, a 70-year-old retired architect. He kept waking at 3 a.m. for months, until he realized the hallway light leaking under the door was enough to disturb him. A draft stopper and a softer night light made all the difference. Sleep isn't just about the mind, it's about the space you're in, and your space should support the kind of rest your body now needs. Reason number 5, the wisdom hour, a time of quiet insight. Now here's something a little more poetic, but no less real. For many older adults, 3 a.m. becomes a sacred hour. Yes, it's disruptive. Yes, it can be frustrating, but it can also be a time of surprising clarity, a moment when the world is quiet and your thoughts are pure. Some spiritual traditions call it the hour of the soul. It's when monks rise to pray, when poets rise to write, and when elders sometimes wake not because they have to, but because they're meant to. If you find yourself waking regularly at 3 a.m., and there's no discomfort or distress, perhaps lean into it. Keep a book nearby, write a few thoughts, sip water, breathe, and reflect, then return to bed not as someone disturbed, but as someone gifted a quiet hour of your own. This isn't advice for everyone, but for some, this reframing turns 3 a.m. from a problem into a portal. And that's something the Silver Library stands for, seeing aging not as a decline, but as a deepening, a broadening, a sacred unfolding. So if you've been waking at 3 a.m., night after night, wondering what's going wrong, perhaps nothing is, perhaps your body is simply shifting, your mind is processing, your hormones are resetting, your environment is nudging, or your soul is stirring. Each of these reasons is not a flaw, but a signal, an invitation to understand yourself in this season of life with more grace and wisdom. If this video spoke to you, take a moment to like, comment Silver Hour below, and subscribe to the Silver Library. We're building a space for thoughtful, respectful conversations about aging, where every wrinkle holds a story, and every early morning wake-up might just be a message worth listening to. Until next time, rest well, and remember, wisdom doesn't sleep, it simply awakens differently.